Hi, I'm Juanita from Nearby Artisans, and I'm going to show you how you can use the transform tools to align objects on the mat. And I'm going to do that by making this flag. Now, I know that you can get this flag online and you can get SVG files, but I'm going to show you how to make it on your own and use this to be able to show you how to use the alignment tools. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create one of the stripes of the flag. So I'm going to go over and make myself a rectangle. And the dimensions on this rectangle would be 26 inches wide if I were doing a standard flag, but I'm not. So I'm going to cut these dimensions in half. So the dimensions for half, and again, it matters what size of flag I want. It's not, this is not standard at all. So, but I do want it to have the correct dimensions. So I have divided it by half, and I'm going to size this by going to the transform tool, and I want the width to be 13 inches, and I want the height 0.53. And I'm going to apply that, and now that's going to be the size of my stripes. So I'm going to lock that in, and I am going to get some copies of that. So I'm going to go over to replicate. And so I have my one there. I'm going to get 3 more. And again, 3 more. So now I have 7. I want a total of 13. So let me get some more here. And now I'm going to just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need 3 more. So I have 13 stripes here. I am going to click every other one. And I'm going to make those red. And now I'm going to click the ones in between. And make them white. Now I have my stripes, so I'm going to go ahead and group those, and I'm going to pull them to the side. And now I'm going to make what's called the union. And how I'm going to make that is I'm going to make my rectangle for the blue. Go to my sizing tool. The height should be 3.7, and the width should be 5.2 to be half. Apply that, and I'm going to lock that in. And now I'm going to make a star. So I'm going to just pull this out of the way. And I like the stars here. I have the business edition of Silhouette, so I go ahead and make my stars in here. But you could easily find a star on the internet, or you could just make your own. But I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to because I want them really perfectly lined up, I'm going to use my grid. I'm going to click. I'm going to pull up, and I want this line here to be, I want this circle here and this circle here perfectly lined up with this little point. I'm just going to make sure, might even go in a little bit, make sure I have this lined up perfectly. Let's see. Put over some. I just really want it lined up nicely. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I want 5 points. And now I'm going to pull this down to get a more perfect star shape. And I like that. I'm going to convert that to path. And now my size for the star, for the dimensions of the flag that I'm making, would be 0.42. And I want that to be 0.42 for both sides. 0.42 and 0.42. And I'm going to apply, and I'm going to lock that in. Now I am going to make 7 of those, because that's how many are in the longest lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I am going to make 7 of those. So I'm going to go over to my replicate panel, and I am going to go ahead and make 4, and then 4 more should give me 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now what I want to do with these, I know that they're perfectly lined up. I want to put them in the rectangle that I created for the union. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of look at where these lie. So they lie about almost maybe half a star over and above to keep them from the outside edges. And so I'm going to go ahead and line those up right. I think I like that alignment right there. I think that's pretty good. I could bring this over and I could kind of like line it up and maybe tiny bit, but it's looking pretty good. Okay, so now what I want to do is take these stars, and I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm going to pull it out to about the same distance that this one has. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, and you'll see why in a minute, but close. So now I'm going to pull this away. I want to click on the first one and the last one, and I want to line those up right there so that they're lined up the middle. I could have done the top or the bottom because they're the exact same, so it wouldn't have mattered, but that's fine. So now what I'm going to do is, here's my first one, here's my last one. They fit in my rectangle. I'm going to highlight all of those, and I want these to be aligned horizontally. And now they are perfectly aligned horizontally. Perfectly. This took the first one and the last one, took the coordinates, and then divided the exact space in between based on the size of them, and this is perfect. And I can't even imagine doing all of the math for this or trying to place these by hand. So now I'm going to go ahead and group those. I'm going to get myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies. So I'm going to go over to my replicate panel, and I'm going to get, that's 4, and I need one more, 5. So now what I need to do is my union square here again and figure out where those are. I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to now pull this away. I want to line this one up and this one up just because I know I moved them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on both of those, and I am going to line them up to the left. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure those are all highlighted, and I'm going to make sure that those are aligned vertically. And now those are perfectly aligned. I'm going to go ahead and get a copy of one of these. So I'm going to duplicate it while it's there. I'll pull it away, and I'm going to group these. Now I am going to take this group. I want to ungroup them for a minute, take the one away from the end. I'm going to regroup those. And for these I need 4. And just make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go back to my replicate, and I'm going to hit 4. And now I am going to line those up from these. I'm going to line this up in here, and I want to make sure it's centered real nicely. So I'm going to make sure that it's, has the same amount of space all the way around. I'm going to take the second one and do it on the bottom, kind of make sure that that's all lined up right. And now I want to pull these away. I'm going to line up. I'm going to click on both of those. I'm going to go to my alignment tools. I want to align those both to the left. Again, it wouldn't really matter. And now I'm going to take these two, and I'm just going to place them anywhere haphazardly in between. And I am going to highlight all of those, and I am going to say I want them lined up vertically. And just to be safe, I'm going to make sure they're also all lined up to the left. And I'm going to group those. And now I'm just going to make sure that these that these all fit, and they do, and that looks pretty good. Although I am going to go ahead and click on all of them. I'm going to center them, and now I'm going to group those, and I'm going to make them white. Now, if I am using these for print and cut and sublimation printing, I want to make sure they don't have the red line around them. If I am cutting these on a cutter, then I definitely don't. I would like the red line, or a line that shows me my cut lines, although I wouldn't have to have the cut lines a certain color. For this, I'm going to go ahead and make the cut line white. I'm going to pull my union. I'm going to make it a dark blue. And I'm going to put it behind my stars and see how that all lines up. Now, if for some reason that I did get these stars a little too close to the edges and I didn't like it, I could go ahead and make them smaller. But they're for the dimensions, they're fine just the way they are. That's fine. I am going to get a copy of the union and pull this away. Now, I wouldn't really need to make a copy of it, but with what I'm going to do, it's just a safe, it's just a safety net. So now I'm going to take all of those, and I'm going to line them up, and I'm going to group those. And I'm going to pull that away. Now I'm going to bring my stripes in. I'm going to take my union. I'm going to line it up to the left and to the top. And now I'm going to have both of those, make sure they're both highlighted, make sure I've chosen both of them, and I am going to go in and subtract. The difference between crop and subtract is that crop takes everything away from my central object. Subtract takes that object away from the design. So now I usually get some little bit of one of the stripes out here. So I just go in and just do some point editing and delete that. And then I will go in and again group these. And now I have my stars and stripes. Right here, I will get my alignment tools. I'm going to align this, the top and the left, and group those. And now I have my own flag that I made myself. And I'm really quite proud of that. I'm quite proud of that I can go ahead and make one. One of the things about making a flag, that it starts out with a red stripe, it ends with a red stripe, and it has 13 colonies, so divide that by half, and it one of the red stripes always lines up with the bottom of the union. So, and this is basically, yes, you can get flags from lots of places, but this is to show you how wonderful this alignment tool, the horizontal and the vertical spacing, are for anything. Another thing in the alignment tools is, say if I was making this little design here, making wooden quilt plaques for a barn or for a garage or your house or a side building is really popular. And you can make stencils to do these, but you can also make stencils where they're connected. And you could also just print this out and put this on. And you could also use a print and cut for this. This could also be if you wanted to make a nice quilt type thing for sublimation. Or there's so many things you could do with this. And this is just, I'm just using these squares to line up, but these could be designs, objects, flowers. This could be trees. I mean, any designs that you do, it's just nice to know how to use the this function right here. And this is transform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make just a little square, and I'm going to have the square be perfectly square, but a little bit off of the size. I don't want it to be a perfect 1 by 1 or 2 by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and get my my scale tool, and I'm going to say this is 1.5 0.25 by 1.25. I'm going to apply that and then lock it in, and I'm going to get a couple of copies here. So I'm going to go to my replicates, and I'm going to go ahead and get a few copies, and maybe just even a few more. Okay, so right now I know these are perfectly lined up, right across from each other, touching, and that's nice to know that I can do that. But what I want to do is line them up in a stair-step type fashion. So I'm going to give each one of these a different color, and I'll go ahead and give them fall colors. So I'll start here, and then here. I'm just going to go down the line and give each one of them a new color. Green. And then a light green. Okay, so these lines out, these squares out here, they are not alignment tools. These are sizing. These are grab handles to size these. This will pull this straight out this way. And if you're watching this video and you're an intermediate to advanced user, you already know that. But those are sizing tools. For the alignments, you go to the transform, and you click on this little icon right here, and here are the coordinates for this object. Now it just happens that it's a square, so it lines up like that, but this could be anything. I could draw, I could draw this flower, say, and when I click on this flower, it still has however long it is down here to up here. That's where this is going to have the coordinates. And it's going to tell you right here where they are. But it would be however wide this goes and then however long. So if you think that there's an invisible box, it's not this one, because this is larger than what this would be. This would be actually like right here. This line right here is, if I see where that's lined up. So if I say I want that on 5.0 for the x coordinate, right here is where that is. This is the coordinates for that. And you play with this a little bit. Once you know how it works, you play with these, and then you can learn how those work. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you squares because it's easier. I could have just, in my next video, I work with circles. So I have this here square, and I'm going to say I want this corner of this square to be at 2.5, say, and 2 3/4. And that's exactly where I want this corner of this to be. And if you can see, this lined up perfectly right there. And now I could take, and I could have grabbed that, and I could have tried to have placed it right on that, and it might have come really close. But I know now that it is exactly at that spot on my mat. So now say I want, see these are all jumbled up, and I want another one to come down here and touch. What I would do is click on this. I'm going to see where the lower coordinate is, and it is at 3.75 and 4.015. So I would take this square right here, say, and I would say I want, this was the bottom coordinate. I want to take this one and do the top coordinate. And I'm going to place that at 3.75 and 4.015. When I apply that, that just lines right up perfectly there. And now I could take this one here and say, what is the coordinate down here for that one? And it is 5.0, and 5.265. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to say I want the top coordinate for that one again, and it is 5.0 and 5.265. And now that lines up perfectly. Now, say I want this one to come out this way, and I do use the Silhouette Studio for quilt designing, and I love it for that. I absolutely love it. I have other videos on it if you want to go back and watch them, and I'll be making even more. So, say if this one here, I want it to be right next to it. I'm going to find out what are the coordinate for this one right here. Now I could say this one, I could line it up by this one and this one, or the top two, but I'm just going to go ahead and say the middle one. I'm just going to go ahead and say the middle one. So the middle one there is at 6.250 and 5.905. So I will take this one, and I'm going to say this coordinate on this side is 6.250 and 5.905. 5.905. And now that lined up perfectly right there. And now say I'm continuing to build this design here, and I want this one to be right in the center of these two. So what I will do is I will go ahead and find out what's the coordinate for the bottom corner here of that, and it is 6.250 and 6.546. And now I will take this one, and I want it to move this one right here, the top center coordinate, and I want that to move to 6.250 and 6.546. And I think at this point you have to start writing these down as you're building this. And now that lines up directly in the center. Now, I could have taken these two and joined them, and then put this one underneath and said line up to the center point. But then where do I line this up? Because I can't line this up to the left or to the right. It would have lined up to the center with these two. But then again, I don't know, like up here. So if I lined it up center, is it lining up this way center? And this is just better in some aspects. And it's good to know this. It's good to know it and understand it and know how it works. You can also move these things by a distance here. So say if I wanted this here, so I have that there, and I want this one to be moved, I can go ahead and line this up with this one, and I would do it by the coordinates again. And I could have the coordinates there, and then I could say to move it down 2.5 inches. And let me do that and see. Now, and when this really helps is a lot of you guys have the little pieces of the vinyl, and you cut them out and you place them on your mats. And it's just nice to be able to do that all in here without hand placing all of these. It's just easier. One more thing I wanted to show you before I finished is this shift line. Now, I've done some things where I had to draw a line through a design, and when you're drawing the line and you don't know how long it's going to be, it's great. It's great if you draw your line and you know how long it's going to be, and at this point you can go over to your scale tools. You can go to your rotate tools, and you can say, oh, I want this to be 96 degrees or 45 degrees from where I had it. And that would be from wherever you had it. I mean, you could draw this line, you could just draw a line at in any point or direction, and then say, well, now I want it 45 degrees from where I originally drew it. And that's just great. But say if you have a line that you need to make and you don't know how long it's going to be, you can go ahead and, like, if I wanted to draw a line from here to this corner up here, I could go ahead and get my tool, go in, and now if I hit my Shift key, press my Shift key, get that right in the corner there, and this is automatically going, you see it'll click into, it only does the 45, 90, and 180 degrees, but now if I needed to have that end right there, I can do it, and I don't have to draw the line and then go over and figure out the angle. So that's just kind of a nice thing to know, that you can do your shift line. I really appreciate your watching my videos. Thank you. And please go and check out the Nearby Artisans website and get listed on there that you sell crafts and what kind of crafts you sell. Also, please subscribe and like and share my videos. And again, thank you for watching.